My throat tightens just thinking about that silver necklace, the one Elias gave me on our wedding day. It wasn't a diamond, not the massive stones he usually bought, but a simple chain with a miniature, intricately carved silver bird, a sparrow, pinned in mid-flight. He never explained it, just clipped it around my neck with a cold, precise touch. I wore it every single day for 2 years, convinced it was a beautiful, ironic symbol of my gilded captivity. I was Serafina Vance, trapped in the Sterling Manor, married to Elias Sterling, a man so wealthy and so emotionally glacial he could turn a summer room into winter just by walking into it. I married him because my family was sinking in a catastrophic financial hole, a disaster my father had foolishly ignored. Elias saved them in exchange for me. A transaction. I was desperately unhappy. Elias was always in his study, sealed off behind mahogany doors, or on a private call, his voice a low, distant drone. He never touched me. He never laughed. His eyes were the color of storm clouds, and they looked through me, not at me. The city whispered that he was ruthless, that he dismantled companies for sport, that he lacked a heart. I believed every word. His coldness was a deliberate weapon, driving me to the edges of the estate, to the sprawling, neglected gardens that felt like the only place I could breathe. That's where I found Caleb. He wasn't a billionaire. He was the estate's new apprentice gardener. He had kind eyes the color of moss after a spring rain, strong, calloused hands, and a quiet way of speaking that made the world slow down. He knew the names of every plant, every insect, every bird. I started spending hours in the rose garden under the guise of wanting fresh blooms. Caleb would be there, digging in the soil, his brow furrowed in concentration. One day, he found me crying behind a high hedge, overwhelmed by the silence of the manor. He didn't ask questions. He simply handed me a tiny trowel. "Sometimes," he said softly, "the best way to deal with a tangle is to work it out slowly, root by root. Get your hands dirty, Serafina." That moment was my beginning. Caleb became my emotional shelter. Our meetings were stolen moments behind ancient stone walls, conversations whispered over the scent of damp earth and lavender. He told me about his dreams of designing public parks, spaces where everyone could find peace. I told him about my lost dreams, of becoming a curator, of having a small, bright apartment, of love that wasn't transactional. He didn't judge me for my marriage. He simply offered me hope. He started leaving me tiny gifts, a perfectly smooth river stone, a drawing of the manor gates with sparrows flying over them, a single deep crimson rose placed where only I would find it. He brought warmth back into my frozen life. I knew I was falling in love with him, a deep, consuming love that gave me the courage to plan my escape. I had been waiting for the 2-year mark. Our contract stipulated that if I left after 2 years, I would forfeit the guaranteed settlement, but my family's debts would remain paid. Freedom, even if I had to leave empty-handed, was worth more than any fortune. I packed one small suitcase, hiding it under the floorboards of my closet. The escape was planned for the night of our second anniversary, the night when Elias would be hosting a major, highly publicized corporate dinner. But Elias had been behaving strangely for the past month. He was never home, but now he was present, yet even more distant. He looked terrible, pale, drawn, with deep purple shadows beneath his eyes. He started wearing long sleeves, even in the warm evenings, and would occasionally wince, a quick spasm of pain he tried to hide behind a glass of expensive scotch. I dismissed it as the stress of his relentless work, his supposed ruthlessness finally wearing him down. The strangest change was the new, impenetrable security system he had installed around his private study. Not just a lock, but a biometric scanner and a massive steel door.
I overheard his longtime assistant, Mrs. Davies, speaking in hushed, anxious tones on the phone. "No, sir, he won't rest. He insists on finishing this last piece. The timeline is critical now. We don't have much time left." When I asked Elias about it, he just stared at me, his storm cloud eyes colder than ever, and told me, "Mind your own affairs, Serafina. Some things are best left untouched." His cruelty was deliberate, designed to push me away for good. It worked. I hated him for his secretiveness and his contempt. The night of the anniversary dinner arrived. I wore a shimmering black dress, the silver sparrow necklace cold against my skin. Caleb was waiting in the shadows of the old greenhouse, ready to drive me away to a new life. I just needed to say goodbye to the gilded cage. I decided in a moment of reckless curiosity that I needed to know what Elias was hiding in his terrifying new sanctuary. I found the hidden override code for his study door, a sequence of numbers I had noticed he typed in his watch every morning, my father's birthday, followed by my mother's anniversary. A set of dates I thought he was too cold to even know. I slipped inside the study while the party downstairs buzzed. The room was not the lair of a corporate villain, but a sterile, clinical space. There were no financial reports, no company dossiers. Instead, the walls were covered with complex medical charts, diagrams of advanced cellular therapies, and thick files from a hospital specializing in aggressive, rapid-onset neurological conditions. On his desk, under a lamp, lay a final shocking document, a legal declaration of trust assigning 95% of his entire estate, including the manor and the firm that had destroyed my father's debt, directly to me. I scanned the header of the medical file. Patient, Elias Sterling. Prognosis, 6 to 12 weeks. I gasped, my hand flying to my mouth. He wasn't distant because he was heartless. He was dying. His coldness, his relentless work, his avoidance of my touch, it wasn't contempt. It was a desperate race against time to secure my future before he became too weak to manage his own affairs, before the debilitating illness made him a burden. He wore long sleeves to hide the bruising from constant blood work. His wince wasn't stress, it was agonizing pain. His new sealed study wasn't a vault for secrets, but a private hospice, where he could fade without me witnessing his decline. Then I saw a small digital recorder on the desk, blinking softly. I pressed play, and his voice, so familiar, yet so broken, filled the silent room. "Serafina, if you're listening to this, it means I failed to hide this last secret from you. The sparrow necklace, it's a symbol. My mother used to say that sparrows carried the smallest, quietest secrets. That was me. My secret wasn't a grand evil plan, it was just love. I fell in love with you the day I saw you fighting to save your father's business, and when I learned of my condition, I knew I had two choices: stay and let you fall in love with a ghost, or push you away and give you the resources to find a real life after I was gone. I needed you to hate me. I needed you to believe I was the cold monster the world thought I was, so when you left, you wouldn't feel the crushing sorrow of what could have been. I didn't want your pity, Serafina. I wanted your freedom. And Caleb? He's my childhood friend. He's the only one who knows. I saw how unhappy you were. I paid him a large sum not to lie to you, but to care for you, to give you the gentle kindness I was medically forbidden from offering. I told him to look at you, to laugh with you, and to show you that there was still warmth in the world, even if it wasn't coming from me. He was meant to be your safe harbor, your path to a real, vibrant life. The drawings he left you, I asked him to draw the manor with sparrows flying over them, symbolizing the escape I always hoped you'd take. The recording ended. I sank onto the rug, the medical charts swimming before my tear-filled eyes. The greatest act of cruelty I had ever witnessed was in reality the most profound act of self-sacrificing love. He had lived his final months in agony, pushing away the only light he had just so she wouldn't have to watch him suffer. He wasn't a villain. He was the tragic hero who destroyed his own image to save my happiness. The silver sparrow on my neck felt searing hot now, a quiet, heartbreaking testament to his secret love. I was supposed to be running to Caleb for freedom, but all I wanted was to run back to the man who was silently fading away, the one who had loved me truly, desperately, and selflessly from the moment we met. The pity was overwhelming, a tidal wave of sorrow for the kind, brave heart I had mistaken for a block of ice. I now knew the real secret of the Sterling Manor, and it was that the most loved man was the one who had willingly died alone. I didn't go to the greenhouse